Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at what the Cardano price is doing and also what Bitcoin is doing, but I won't spend much time on Bitcoin in this video. I did spend quite a bit of time in the previous video on Bitcoin, so I will do a bit of less focus on Bitcoin here. Still, we start with Bitcoin briefly. Bitcoin is now trading in a so-called rectangle pattern, I would say. You know, you have basically that rectangle shape here, a channel which is moving sideways in this consolidation. It is a trend continuation pattern, so overall I would expect it rather to move to the upside instead of to the downside. That's just what these patterns normally are, trend continuation. We are in a short-term uptrend anyway, so that is what I expect. However, you will need to watch that line here, which is the 53.7k line. If we drop that, then we could find support here at the 50, no, that's wrong. I think I moved that line accidentally. Oh no, I didn't. At yeah, 53k roughly. And if we lose that, then we could get down to 50.5k and so on. And then we'll look at other levels like 48.8, which was that important level that we broke through, and which was that high that we marked back here. That was the 48.8. But yeah, basically here, if we can hold that channel, I think then the chances are still greater that we move to the upside and maybe get that final push into that resistance zone up here, where resistance levels start at 57k, and that could push us to higher levels here. Like, you know, I did say in the previous video, I think we could actually even get to the 64k as a maximum before we see a consolidation, in my view. That's Bitcoin. Let's go to Cardano, and we start with Cardano today actually on the weekly. We haven't done that for a while, and I just want to show you that it's looking actually still very good, you know, in the grand scheme of things. What you can see here on the weekly is that we are climbing our way up. You can see here on the weekly, well, you know, we are making a bearish divergence here on the RSI, but to be honest, I mean, we are in these up moves, you know, in these moves, higher highs and higher highs. We were in very much overbought territory, and we actually here in August we were still in overbought territory, which is just why you get this correction on the RSI, or this falling one. So we lost a bit of momentum here overall in the uptrend, but you know, we came from a really high level, so I'm not really concerned about that bearish divergence on the RSI. It's only one indicator, and we need to take a look at the bigger picture. Obviously, at the moment, we are just touching that trend line here that we've been forming, that ascending trend line in orange that you can see. And also that trend line is quite interesting. It is currently lying pretty much where the 20-week moving average is. Here, the blue-green line, which you can see here, which is currently supporting the price action on the weekly, and the blue one is the 50-week, and the yellow one is the 200-week moving average, and we're above all of them. We are really in an uptrend here. You can see that on a long-term basis. We can also see still a long signal here on the ADX. You know, we are actually, based on the ADX on the weekly, we are maybe in a very weak uptrend, but actually we are in a sideways move based on the ADX, because we are below that 20 line. It actually means we are in a range market, and you know, guys, it feels like that at the moment anyway. You know that. What I'm a bit concerned about is the second indicator. So we've got that bearish divergence, and we have now also potentially depending on how the weekly closes, but we might get a bearish signal here on the MACD. Yeah, you can see that we might be having a bearish cross coming, and you can see that we've been in the green for a while now. Here at the top of the market where we made the $3.10 there, since then we've been going down here on the MACD. So when you saw that first lower MACD here coming, you could actually already you know, see that trend reversal potentially coming, but by the time you saw it on the weekly, it was probably too late. The price then already dropped nearly down to $2. But you know, we have that sell signal coming now, and on the weekly here. So we had it here as well on the 7th of June, and you can see that we after that also moved down. But what we need to see on the weekly, I mean, these are lagging indicators. This is only happening now because we already dropped from $3.10 down to the current level. So to be honest, the last time that happened here on the 7th of June, yes, after that we had a bit of a correction as well, but the major price drop actually happened before that anyway. So I'm not too concerned, but it's still something we need to watch out for. I just hope we can hold above that ascending trend line here. That would be very important, I think, for the continuation of that uptrend within which we currently are. If we really drop below that level, if we drop below that level maybe briefly during a week or so, that's not a problem. If the week goes below that, not necessarily a problem. But if we close a weekly candle below that, I think that would be quite bearish. But overall, it's still looking good, but we just need to watch out for this descending, the bearish divergence here on the RSI. I mean, we're still in the bullish range. We're still way over 50, and we seem to make higher highs now again, compared to these lower highs that we made here. So it is getting better, and hopefully the MACD will make a turnaround as well to the upside. And just because we have that bearish doesn't mean that it is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we are above all the moving averages here, and we are already coming from a pretty high level. We had that correction already, so hopefully that is really just only because the MACD is lagging. Let's go and take a look at the daily, and then we work our way down. On the daily at the moment, very similar now to Bitcoin. Actually, you can see that we are moving in a triangle pattern here really now at the moment, but we can probably better see that on the daily. But again, here on the weekly, you can see how we are moving up this trend line. Here on the daily, I probably need to move it closer to the actual price action. So pretty much like that. And as I said before, as long as we're not dropping below that, I'm not too worried. Here on the daily, it's starting to look a bit better. We make something here like a ascending triangle on the RSI. Yeah, so we're really coiling up maybe for a move to the upside. I did say in the previous video, I expect some price moves to the upside for Cardano. Maybe even up to 265, and yeah, we are really coiling up. So hopefully we are going to see a break to the upside of that 50 line, which would indicate that we get into the bullish range, not a fake out like here that we did on the 4th of July, where we dropped once more before we then moved up. Yeah, it is a possibility that we drop once more here on the RSI, which then obviously would follow a price drop as well. The ADX is still looking quite bearish. Actually, we still have a short signal here with a red line above the green line, but then the MACD has made a bullish cross here on the daily, so we are moving into the green range, have been doing so for a week now, and you can see that the price is actually moving up. So here on the shorter term time frame, at least the MACD is looking better, and also on the RSI we've got a lot of scope to the upside, but we have struggles at the moment to get above the 50 line. This is possibly holding the price back a little bit. Now, where are we on the 4-hour chart? On the 4-hour, I think it is looking quite good actually. On the 4-hour, we are in the bullish range here on the RSI. But again, here, I think, and let me just make that a little bit larger here, the prices. Here on the 4-hour as well, we've got a little bit of a bearish divergence because we made that high here. And we've got a lower high here on the RSI, whereas actually in terms of the price, we actually made a higher high here. Well, the candle didn't close, but still the RSI was dropping. So it's a bit of a bearish divergence that we've got here on the chart. On the ADX, we have a long signal just moving into that area of a trend. We are still below the 20 line, so still a bit of a range market. You can see that here that we're just moving sideways at the moment actually. And then where are we here on the MACD? Again, just in the green range at the moment, following that price to the upside, and seem to be finding resistance here at the moment at that 231 level, dropping down a little bit here on the short term, and we're going to take a look at that on the 1-hour chart. And let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. And here on the 1 hour, let's just take a look at the price action here on the 1-hour chart, because I think this is quite important here for Cardano as well. Make that a bit larger, take that line out. So what we can see, what we saw earlier actually, when I made my video earlier today, we had a bit of a triangle forming here. Now that broke out, it broke to the downside, very similar to Bitcoin, similar pattern, and now we are moving in that range as well. Yeah, so we're just moving sideways, and we are in this sort of rectangle pattern. However, we dropped a little bit from up here. but we are just moving sideways now. Looks a bit boring. Bitcoin at least made a bit of a pump before that. Cardano didn't really. We are still below that 232 line, which is a very important line. What is quite positive, I would say, to see is that we are actually, we've got that horizontal support line here at 232. We really struggled to get above that recently. I mean, here on the, let me just go back to the 4-hour chart. We've got some, see where the candles actually did close. Yes, okay, we've had a few candles closing here above the above that 232 line, but that was a bit of a fake out. So really, since then we haven't managed to get above the 232 line. So we have various touch points here, horizontal support, a horizontal resistance line, and we've got that diagonal support line coming up. So on in the grand scheme of things, that is actually looking like an ascending triangle for me. Yeah, you can see that here how it's forming quite clearly, because we are not dropping below that trend line at the moment. It's a very important trend line, that resistance line here. You know, if we really lose that, yes, we could definitely get to lower prices immediately. We could get down to maybe $2.13, $2.03, and then even here 191, which was that recent low, or even drop even lower. But you know, we are now actually in an ascending triangle. That's not a bad thing, but it's basically the opposite what we had here. Can you see that actually on the between the 6th and the 20th of September, we moved into that descending triangle, which is a bearish pattern, yeah, because what essentially happens, you've got that horizontal support line, and buyers cannot push the price away any longer from that level, yeah, from that horizontal support line. So we're making lower highs here, and essentially that is when I also said I expect that to break down, and we came all the way down here. So that was anticipated. So I also anticipate now the other way around, that we will see a break hopefully to the upside. But you know, we're just moving from pattern to pattern here, and you know, we had these triangles here already forming, things like that, and we are really moving from pattern to pattern here on the Cardano chart. Now we are in this larger ascending triangle, which started on the 21st of September, and or on the, yeah, pretty much on the 21st of September, I think. And I'll just make it a little bit more visible for you. So we've got here that horizontal resistance line. We have the we can also establish a target for that one. I think that wouldn't be a target that will be reached in maybe 1 or 2 days. It's maybe in the next few weeks. So yeah, and obviously you've got that horizontal, the diagonal resistance line. Whoops, what did happen there? I've got a touch screen. It's sometimes a bit messy. So there you go. I've got that ascending triangle within which we are trading. So we can take that horizontal line now and just make a guess of, take the height of that triangle, and looking at a possible price target of up to 280, I think, roughly. Yeah, maybe a little bit below 280, and look at what that was. That was that high here. So it works very, very well, and could come all the way up to that. That was actually what my anticipation was in the video earlier, that I said, you know, we could get up to 265, maybe even 280. These are the high, you know, the high level points that I would expect us to get through if Bitcoin moves further up. It might only be a short-term price gain, because I still think we are in an overall correction, but I still think money could be made with some trades here, but I'd be extremely careful with that. But for me, my view is, you know, even if such a trade wouldn't work out, I would still hold it long-term, because I believe in ADA and the project. I can hardly see that break down immediately here. However, if Bitcoin really makes a massive sell-off, then of course that could always happen. I told you that diagonal support line, you know, if we lose that, then we come to lower levels. And depending on when that happens, you have a different target. Let's assume that happens when the apex is there, you know, in the apex, then we could get down again to levels like 185, 186. But that's pretty much what I'm looking at now. You know, that's ascending triangle. It gives me hope. It gives me hope that we could break to the upside again, you know, where Bitcoin obviously is already a little bit of ahead. Cardano isn't. Cardano is just waiting, but it will be coiling up for something. And yeah, unfortunately, we seem to have to wait a little bit longer, but it could break out at any time out of that pattern here. And you can see how clearly that is defined. And it's a pretty powerful trend line, that ascending one, because that started end of July, so we've been following it for a while now. And yeah, let's just see. It's very exciting. As said, I think it will break to the upside, and then we need to see when we lose steam. Gave you the price target of potentially up to 280 if we break out of this one to the upside, and to the downside I'd be looking at something, depending on when it happens, because it's a diagonal line here, could be looking at something between 170 I think and 185. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully you liked that video. If you did, please smash the like button, and if you want to follow me, then please subscribe to the channel. Again, if you really like the content, please oh, that was a dog in the background. I'm sure you heard the dog. If you really like the content, then please consider maybe joining as a channel member. Then you can get access to the live room. We are now over 35 members on the channel. I only really had that membership option for the last few weeks, so really growing very nicely, and really nice core community. And there's a live chat every Sunday. I will also, in the future, I'm only starting that now, in the very near future, I will start to share my trades in this live chat group. And I'm also able to, just on a very short-term, short notice basis, can tell you things that are happening that I'm seeing. For example, yesterday I bought Quant, and because I saw a breakout coming, a potential breakout, and I believe in the project long-term anyway. So I did enter a long position with Quant yesterday, and I think someone in the live chat group actually followed it, and then the price went up today. But I plan to hold it long term anyway. But these are the things that I can share in the chat group. So yeah, if that's interesting for you, maybe consider joining. You can find a link in the subscription. And also, if you want to learn about technical analysis, you can find a link to my second channel in the description, where I talk about technical analysis. And then there'll be further videos coming today for several altcoins that I wanted to cover, but I haven't had really time for that. One of them is Polkadot. So I'm going to talk about Polkadot later today, and also about some others that I think I haven't talked about on this channel before. So yeah, thanks again for all your support. I highly appreciate it, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.